Good morning and welcome to Morning Movie News, where yesterday a major headline was generated by Disney yet again. But this one was a little controversial, and that was that they're doing a new Rocketeer movie, but they're changing the lead from a white male to a black female. And some people were like, hells yeah, and some people were like, hells no. I first was not sure about my positioning on it, but then this morning while I was getting ready to shoot this episode, I was like, were there any black female pilots back in the day? Because the character, it's going to take place just 6 years after the original Rocketeer, and it's going to be a black female pilot. The original is a white male stunt pilot who discovers a jetpack and decides to become a vigilante. It's an ode to the serials of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, even though the character was created in the 80s, interestingly enough. But anyway, this new character will happen just 6 years later. She'll be a pilot, and she'll find herself, embroiled in the Cold War, right? That's a pretty interesting setup, particularly for a black female protagonist. But I was like, is this just like wishful thinking on the part of Disney? I'm going to do some research. So I did, and I was shocked by what I found, because I'm so sick and tired of not knowing this stuff, because the history books in this country, the United States, do a crap job of showing that the world has always been a diverse place. That diversity and those accomplishments have just been shut out from the public eye, which is really quite sad. So let me tell you, this is a little bit like, Bass Reeves, the African-American individual who was a famous Texas Ranger and was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger, right? I talked about him when we talked about the Magnificent Seven remake with Denzel Washington. And many of you hadn't known about that character, and I got some great comments about people saying, thank you for telling me about him. I got one particular one from a VTD viewer who said, I called my dad up, we're also, we're a black family, and my dad loves Westerns, and he was just so happy to discover Bass Reeves and called up all his friends, and it was a nice story. So I've got another one. I have another African-American, actually mixed race, black and Native American woman who made history, but yet nobody really knows her name, right? So I hope that they do an ode to this character, this woman, Bessie Coleman, by naming this new Rocketeer after her. So Bessie Coleman, or they could just make a movie about Bessie Coleman, but if you strap a jetpack to your black female protagonist's back, it's probably going to do a little better at the box office. But anyway, Bessie Coleman in real life, the turn of the century, in the early 1900s, she wanted to be a pilot after World War I because she heard about all these pilots coming back from the war and giving lessons. But unfortunately, not only would no one train a woman to be a pilot in the United States, no one would train a black person either. But that didn't stop Bessie Coleman. So Bessie Coleman actually took French classes in Berlitz, at the Berlitz school in Chicago, so that she could move to France, as she did, and study for a pilot's license there. And in 1921, she got her pilot's license and became the first black woman and the first Native American woman to be a pilot. And I think that's just absolutely spectacular. And that's 1921. Way before this new Rocketeer is going to take place. So I just think that's spectacular. And I'm excited about the Hidden Figures movie coming up about the black female scientists who helped get the space program off the ground. And again, why have we not heard of these individuals? They always make a lot of movies about slavery, and I see a lot of other movies that could be made. Although recently one of you brought up the idea of a Harriet Tubman movie, and as I said in my comments to that person, if she gets on the 20 as she's supposed to, I bet they make a movie. But anyway, as for this Rocketeer, it came about because Disney did a 20th anniversary fan screening for the movie at the El Capitan Theater, their theater in Los Angeles, where they hold all their premieres, in 2011. And they were really surprised at how many people showed up. And not only how many people showed up, but how many people showed up in costume. And they were like, methinks we have something here. We should do something with it. But then they were like, how is this just not Iron Man? So they decided, well, what if we make it a black female character, which I think is funny because, of course, they're making Iron a black teenager in the comics now. They're like, God damn it, why aren't they coordinating at Disney, right? Company-wide. Although I would also say that a female pilot taking to the skies is also extremely reminiscent of Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, aka Carol Danvers, is a pilot, so you're going to have two characters that are very similar anyway. Just you're going to have the black and the white version, and I don't know why you would want to divide people's loyalties like that. But this Rocketeer idea is sounding better and better, and I hope that Disney frames it in this historical perspective. I think that would be really cool. Now, who is going to play our Rocketeer? We just talked yesterday about Hollywood only really casting light-skinned actresses and, the lack of roles for Lupita Nyong'o. She is in Black Panther, thank goodness, and has a wonderful relationship with Disney. So many of you yesterday said, how about Lupita Nyong'o to be the Rocketeer? And I think that's a fabulous choice. I think she already has an extremely strong relationship with Disney, mostly in the voiceover department, but she's also their Queen of Katwe, and of course, again, Black Panther. And she's an Oscar winner, so wouldn't that be fantastic? And she's a legitimate Oscar winner. Sorry, Halle Berry, but everybody knows that. Nobody knows how that happened. I think it was a very good role, and it was a good movie to be in, and she took a lot of risks personally, but, of course, she's never really lived up to that win since. But anyway, Lupita Nyong'o, incredibly talented individual. I think she'd be a great choice for the role, and here's hoping that her agent is already on the phone with Disney saying, please, you owe us. You gave my client, I don't know, I think they've paid Lupita back with some of the roles they've given her, but still, she's a great choice. So I'm curious, what was your initial reaction to this new Rocketeer, and do you feel any different about it after hearing about Bessie Coleman? All right, so that's the first story of the day. The second story of the day, talking about Hollywood trying to do some change. Well, this is one individual in particular, and that's Eddie Murphy, who has found himself another small indie film, right? So here we go again. Remember, he almost turned, everyone's saying this movie, Mr. Church, which has just gotten a September release, is going to turn Eddie Murphy's career around. Well, he was supposed to already turn it around with Dreamgirls. But of course, when he didn't win the Oscar for Best Supporting, he infamously got very angry, a little bit like Sylvester Stallone got very angry when he didn't win the Oscar, and, did not make a lot of friends with his reaction. You're supposed to be a gracious loser. But anyway, Eddie Murphy is going to try again in his first film in 4 years. So I'm letting you know to keep an eye out for this. It's called Mr. Church, and Eddie Murphy plays a man who's hired to cook for a dying woman and her daughter, played by Britt Robertson, the daughter. And this is based on the real-life experience of the woman who wrote the screenplay. So I guess she's the daughter, obviously. So I think that's very interesting, and I'd be curious. It sounds a little bit like The Untouchables to me, although Eddie Murphy's role here seems a lot more serious than Omar Sy's. And Omar Sy, his career never really took off in the States, which is unfortunate. But anyway, I think that we'll see if Eddie Murphy can turn things around. What Eddie Murphy really needs to turn around is his off-camera attitude and his ability to do the politics that are necessary in Hollywood. But he just doesn't want to do it, and until he's willing to do it, he's just not going to move as far ahead as he would like to. But we'll see. Bill Murray tried to move ahead with, you might remember, St. Vincent like a year or so ago, and that didn't really work out either. It's tough. It's hard to change how Hollywood sees you. So let's see, though. I'd be very interested in this. I like Eddie Murphy. I think he has hidden depths, so we'll see. All right, so the third story of the day is that, speaking of trying to change your career, Idina Menzel is still, plugging away because, I'm sure she's surprised she didn't get more of a boost post-Frozen. But she didn't. But she now has a new opportunity on Lifetime as Lifetime tries to continue to reinvent itself. They have a pretty good hit with Unreal, but for the most part, Lifetime is still Lifetime. I watch Devious Maids on the network. I think it's a lot of fun. But still, they were going to do that Kristen Wiig, Will Ferrell movie, and they did do it, with the adoption movie that was kind of like a take on the movie, a spoof, half serious Lifetime movie of the week. But, that surprise was blown months in advance. Rumor was it was because of the fight between, like, CAA and one of the other agencies. I forget which other agency it was for clients, and so they spilled that as retaliation. But anyway, that didn't quite work out for Lifetime, but Lifetime's not giving up either. So they're going to do a remake of Beaches, which, interestingly enough, is a Gary Marshall movie. And Gary Marshall just tragically passed away a week or so ago. Very sad. So anyway, Lifetime's going to remake Beaches, which is actually a really, really famous movie from Gary Marshall's career at the time, but for some reason just doesn't have a particularly strong legacy. It starred Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey, and Bette Midler had some great songs in that movie, including Wind Beneath My Wings, right? So anyway, you would think that Idina Menzel would play Barbara Hershey because she looks so similar to Barbara Hershey, and she's so similar to Barbara Hershey in temperament. But no, she's going to do the Bette Midler role because, Bette Midler has all the songs. So that makes sense from that perspective, but I don't really see Idina Menzel being able to capture the fiery, crazy persona of Bette Midler. Also, Mialim Bialik played the young Bette Midler in that movie, and she, of course, is now on the Big Bang Theory, as Sheldon's girlfriend. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on her name, the character's name. I love her character so much. out of sight, out of mind. But anyway, I still like Big Bang Theory. It's a little repetitive. But anyway, I just don't see Idina Menzel fitting that mold. But if she can do it, if she can pull it off and do more than just the singing, this could be helpful to her. So I think that sounds pretty good. I'll be curious to see who they cast opposite her in the Barbara Hershey role. So then finally, for the viewer question, I have a great viewer question from Ahmed. Oh, it's Amy Farrah Fowler on Big Bang Theory. Okay, great. All right, so anyway, Ahmed Mazen has a great viewer question about Justice League. So Ahmed says, "Hello, Grace. My name is Ahmed. I have been a daily watcher for 3 years now, but this is the first time that I am asking a question." Smiley face. Excellent. Thanks for talking with me, Ahmed. Ahmed says, "My question is about the Justice League photo, the group photo that was released at Comic-Con and you've used in videos. It's in the photo, all the male characters are wearing full bodysuits, even Aquaman, but Wonder Woman is not wearing any. I know that Wonder Woman in most of her comics wears the swimsuit costume, but I was hoping that she would have pants just like the Crisis costume. Do you think that would let more guys be interested in seeing the movie? I just don't like people to like a movie or a character only based on their appearance, especially women, because most of the time they are just eye candy. Thank you and keep up the good work. Greetings from the UAE." United Arab Emirates. Hello, Ahmed. That's a great question. And it's something that I did, of course, discuss when they were first thinking of making a Wonder Woman movie. As some of you might recall, I made a video said, "Will she wear pants?" That was the big title on the poster frame. And for a while, I was really in the pants camp. I felt very strongly about it. And a lot of women, and as you can see, men like Ahmed, care about how women are portrayed and why is Wonder Woman not wearing any pants? Well, I think they fixed it. I'm very happy with what the DCEU has come up with as a solution here. Because I feel if she were to put full pants on, I think it would seem a little bit too much like an SJW concession. I would feel that it would maybe elicit a Ghostbusters type reaction, which would be terrifying. So I think that the skirt idea was good. I mean, if she'd been wearing a swimsuit, I think understandably, almost every woman on the face of the earth would have been furious because just simply nobody in the history of Earth has worn a swimsuit to fight. It just is, unless it's been for a certain type of video. But the thing is that in Greco-Roman times, and also even in medieval times, with like Braveheart, a lot of people wore, short, kilt or toga-like materials, right? Because they weren't big on pants anyway back in the day, all right? So I think that makes more sense. And I think when you put the skirt in there, it gives it that kind of appearance. Also, by putting in they gave her like thigh-high boots almost, which offers a feeling of more protection as well and, makes it seem a little bit more like she has pants on, right? There just isn't too much skin showing. So I think it's a happy medium. It still allows her to be eye candy. And people were talking about this yesterday. I was talking about Tyler Hoechlin's first look at Superman and some of the physical attributes of his of how he looked, and some people were like, "See, Grace, you see male characters as eye candy too." So I think it's important to realize that these characters are eye candy to a lot of people, men and women, different sexualities, etc. So I think that the really thing that Hollywood needs to do is to find a way to allow these characters to be sexy while still maintaining their dignity. And I think that they've done that with Wonder Woman. Should Aquaman be shirtless? Yeah, he was in the original photo, and I don't see how why anyone would want to go swimming around with a shirt on, right? I mean, he's not like a dad, right? It reminds me of that funny I don't know if you've noticed Owen Wilson's story. One of the first movies he ever did was Anaconda, and he tells this great story about how it was like his first big movie, and he was this indie actor, and he shows up on set, and they're like, "Okay, let's get in the water, everyone," and he takes his shirt off, and the director or the costume, someone on set said, "Maybe you're the kind of guy who swims with his shirt on." And I was like, "Oh, that's a funny story, Owen Wilson." But Jason Momoa, obviously, a big part of his career has been that he can do anything with his shirt off. So I think that it makes sense for both the actor and the character to ditch the shirt. I mean, he's supposed to have all those cool tattoos on, right? And some armor, that a shoulder plate, etc. So I think that's the direction they should go in. But we shall see. But as for Wonder Woman, Ahmed, I think your comment is fantastic. But I think that I'm glad you're thinking that way, and I think, though, that what they've done with Gal Gadot, and also I think Gal Gadot, a lot of credit goes to how she wears the costume, right? She's never standing there being like, "Do I look hot or what?" Right? She's not doing like a duck face to camera taking a selfie as Wonder Woman, being like, "I'm the hot member." She's trying to be very powerful, trying to be a warrior, that she means business, and I think that's really important too. Just as Margot Robbie with Harley Quinn, I think is sexualizing that character, but is trying to own it, and that's important too. That's an important distinction. So we'll see. I think that they have some great actresses who are in the DC EU right now, and in Marvel, to be totally fair, and I think that a lot of credit goes to them for how they're helping to shape these characters. So great question, Ahmed. Thank you so much. I hope you will ask more questions in the future. I'm glad you've asked the first one. That's always the hardest. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Please write down below the today's top 3 stories, Ahmed's viewer question, anything you'd like to see covered on Monday, and any questions that you might have. And hey, if you've never asked a question before, perhaps you'll be inspired because of Ahmed. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.